Hey ladies and gentlemen, today I got a review for you. I'm going to be talking about the Planet Eclipse elbow and forearm pads. If you play like I do, which is a little bit rough and tumble, kind of aggressive, you end up on the ground a lot, crawling and kneeling and tumbling and whatever, you might bang up your elbows and forearms a little bit and want some kind of padding. An excellent choice is the Planet Eclipse, I forget what the technical name for these are, Overload I think, or Overlord, one or the other, I forget, sorry. Forearm and elbow pads. I really like these. I've been using these for a little bit now and mostly good. The padding itself is thick and fairly rigid, as most Planet Eclipse padding is. It tends to be a little thicker and more solid than some of the other brands out there, which I really like. And the placement of the pads is really nice. It gives a nice solid cup around the elbow and then right up the forearm to the wrist. So if you end up falling or diving to the ground and you land elbow, forearm, wrist, you're generally going to hit the padding. It has vents on the outsides to make it a little more breathable. That's of course at the expense of padding in those spots, but because there's padding on either side of the vents, you've got a nice thick piece right in the middle here, and then kind of around the edge, you've got a thinner strip of padding on either side. Those vents don't actually make it any less safe or less effective, unless in the very unlikely occurrence that like a rock or branch or something happens to hit you right on that vent, then it's going to be a problem. But other than that, they don't take away from the protectiveness of the padding. The inside, so like this would be the inside of your forearm, as I'll show you in a minute, is a nice mesh breathable material, very thin, very comfortable, very breathable, so it doesn't get too hot playing in these, even in very high temperatures. Now, I don't use the thumb loops here, I don't particularly care for those, but they do have thumb loops, so it doesn't move around in theory on your arm. Let me show you this on now. So again, I don't use the thumb loop, but a lot of people like it. So you can see that the padding here is right on my elbow, goes up the outside of the forearm, so any type of crawling or diving, this padding is what's going to be taking the brunt of all of those impacts rather than an unguarded arm, and that's a really nice feature. I want to point out something right here. Sometimes padding like this gets criticized as bounce padding, and in a lot of situations that's often the case, but I want to point out this hit right here. This is from last weekend. I washed these, the paint didn't come out entirely, but you can see I took a shot right to the elbow pad right there and the paintball broke instead of bouncing. And on this particular day of play, it was hot, the paint wasn't so good, and I still took that break right on the padding. So yes, you can catch bounces every now and then, but it will more likely than not break on this fairly thick, hard padding. So to wrap this up, these pads are comfortable, they're breathable, and they do their job very well. Probably the best thing I can say about them is that I haven't hurt my elbow or forearm or wrist since I started wearing them, and I never notice I'm wearing them when I'm playing. So Planet Eclipse arm and elbow pads, I like them a lot. Thanks for listening. See you next time.